And joining us right now on the show, man, who's written a book, really interesting book, as we're heading right into March Madness season. It's called Don't Put Me in Coach. We're going to be talking with Mark Titus, who played for Ohio State, and he was a walk-on back in 2006. The book is kind of about his experiences playing for Ohio State, kind of being an extra player on the bench, I guess is the right way to put it. And Mark, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good to have a chance to talk to you a little bit today as we're heading into Selection Sunday coming up this week and all the basketball going on. This book is kind of, I guess you could say, a funny book in a sense, right, about your experiences. You didn't really expect to be on the Ohio State team back in 2006. You were a walk-on, right?
Yeah, I originally went to Ohio State. I was a basketball manager. I was a manager for the team. And some guys got hurt in practice, and they were down to 9 guys, didn't have enough to actually conduct the scrimmage, so they asked me to walk on, and I thought that was just going to be until those guys got healthy, but I must have done something right, because they let me hang around for 4 more years.
What did you do? Did you have like a tryout right then, or what do they do when they say walk on?
I didn't have a tryout. Well, I was different because I played on the same club, AAU basketball team as Greg Oden and Mike Conley, who were 2 big recruits for Ohio State. They were freshmen with me that freshman year. And so when Coach Mata was recruiting those guys, he kind of got a chance to see me play a little bit. Maybe not enough to really scout me out, but he knew that if I was on their team, I must not have been that bad. So I think that was enough for them to know that I could at least get pushed around in practice or something.
Yeah, how does that make you feel? I mean, you're going to college for kind of a different reason. Obviously, that wasn't your main goal to be a starter, but now that kind of changes your whole scheduling around. I mean, college basketball is almost professional in a sense. You've got to be at practice, 3 or 4 times a week, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge time commitment, and that was a big deal. That was actually why I quit being a manager, because I did quit being a manager. In between the time I got on the team, I had quit my job as team manager because it was such a time commitment that I didn't want to, I just didn't have any time to do any my schoolwork or anything else, which is funny because that was the reason I gave when I walked into the office and told them I wanted to quit. I was like, this just takes up too much of my time and I want to focus on school. And they called me back 2 weeks later and they're like, hey, do you want to walk on? And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, forget about school. Forget about having free time. Yeah, I want to walk on.
Now, when you're on the team, do you automatically get a scholarship then, or?
My first years I did because we didn't have. You get 13 scholarships every year, and if you don't use them, I think they just pretty much go to waste, or I don't know, something happens. So I was given a scholarship my first 2 years, but then they had already promised scholarships to recruits for the last 2, so I lost out on those.
Talking with Mark Titus. The name of his book is called Don't Put Me in Coach. And is that something you actually said?
Yeah, that's based on a true story. Yeah, that's actually, it was an exhibition game. It wasn't a real game. It was just a practice game. And I had a stomach ache at the time, and they were up by 50 points. And the Coach Mata came down and told me to go in, or he asked me if I was ready to go in. And I said, there's only a minute left in the game, and I was like, nah, I'm good right here. I got a little bit of a stomach ache.
I guess coaches aren't used to hearing that.
Yeah, I know. He was taken aback by it for sure.
Well, talk a little bit about the book. Did you kind of keep a diary, or how did you kind of put this together from your experiences to remember all the stories?
I had a blog that I started after my sophomore season where I pretty much just made fun of myself for being a bench warmer and not really playing a lot. And I started that, so that served as kind of a good diary because I wrote about my experiences, and that's how I got the audience to actually write a book. But other than that, though, it was just reminiscing with teammates. After I signed my book deal and it was time to write the book, I just went and talked to all my teammates, and we just had a beer and talked about all the fun times we had together, and I jotted down some notes and remembered all the fun times. So that was pretty much it. It wasn't. I probably should have put some more planning into it, but that seemed to work good enough for me.
Now, was that the Club Trillion blog? Is that the blog you're talking about?
Yeah, that was the Club Trillion blog, yeah.
And what the Club Trillion meaning what?
The Club Trillion comes from, the Trillion is, I would play for 1 minute when we would be up by a lot of points. I'd go in for the last minute of the game and just be the human victory cigar. And so in that 1 minute, I wouldn't do anything because I wouldn't have enough time to do anything. So I would just go in and play defense or something, and the other team would shoot the ball. The big guy on our team would grab the rebound, and I would just stand there and watch him grab the rebound. And then we'd go to the other end of the floor and just stand there and dribble the ball. as the clock ran out, as the buzzer sounded. After the game, my stat line would say 1 minute played and have a bunch of zeros, so that one.
I got you, trillion.
12 zeros is a trillion, yeah, so that's what that is.
In New York, we used to call it garbage time. I don't know if they call it out
Yeah,
where you are.
Yeah, it's garbage time, exactly.
Well, from what I've read, some of the notes on you, you've scored a total of 9 points in your career. That's pretty good.
9 points, yeah. I had 8 going into one of the last games of the year, and I got fouled and had 2 free throws and made the first one and missed the second one, so I lost out on the coveted double-digit career scoring.
Now, is it true you were scouted by the Harlem Globetrotters? Was that to be for the Washington Generals?
That is true. I was scouted to be for the Globetrotters, actually, which is kind of bizarre.
Actually on the Globetrotter squad, you mean?
Yeah, actually on the Globetrotter squad. I went up to we had like a 3-day mini camp up on Long Island, and I don't know, it was a different experience. It wasn't exactly what I had hoped for, so it didn't ultimately work out. It was still a pretty fun experience, nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Globetrotters are an entertainment, and there's a lot of scripted things going on, so it wouldn't exactly be regular basketball. But I mean, I thought maybe it was for the Washington Generals, the opposing team.
yeah, that's what I thought too. But I guess I wasn't very good at regular basketball, so I guess it must be fine. Maybe get me good at the trick. Well,
now you've kind of gone on to you're a writer yourself. I think you write for, is it called Grantland.com? Is that what you do now?
Grantland.com. Yeah.
And that is basketball only, or what? Or all sports, or what do you write about?
Well, Grantland is a ESPN affiliated website. It started over the summer, and it's all sports. It's got a pop culture little bit to it too. Yeah, it's just a site full of writers. It's like all it is writers. There's no like news or updates or anything like that. It's just or scores or anything like that. It's just all writers giving their pieces, putting their pieces up there. So, yeah, I'm in charge of the college basketball, though, so I'm the college basketball coach there.
You mentioned playing with Greg Oden. Kind of sad when you see how his career is really not panned out with all the injuries, the microfractures and all that. Do you think he's going to be able to come back from that? It's awfully tough. Other players have gone through that. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough for me because I'm obviously know him well, and I've been a friend of his since I was 14 years old, so it's tough for me to see at this point.
Yeah.
And initially, it was like a basketball thing where I was like worried about whether or not he could, get his basketball career back on track. And now I'm just worried about him as a person. Not worried. That worried sounds bad, like he's like in a bad place or something. But I'm worried in the sense that like he feels like it's his fault. He feels like he's let everybody down. When really the reality is he's pretty unlucky. I mean, you can't really control your body getting injured, and I think that's what like tears him up the most is that he probably feels like he never actually got a chance to prove what he could do. And the good thing is, even though he looks like he's 100, he's only 23, so there still could be time to get it figured out and get it back on track. But yeah, I feel for him now, though.
Yeah, sad to see. He always did look more mature than he was for his age, didn't he? Well, the name of this book is called Don't Put Me in, Coach. We've been talking with Mark Titus today about his experiences with Ohio State and some of the funny stories, I'm sure, locker room hijinks and all that. We won't give any away, but I think the fans are going to get a kick out of it. Do you have a website, Mark? People can get a hold of the book?
Yeah, it's sold just wherever books are sold. I mean, it's on being sold every bookstores and on. They got the ebooks going, the iPad, the Kindle, and the Nook, and whatever else they got out there that I don't know about. So yeah, it's pretty much wherever books are sold.
And Grantland.com. You can also read Mark's coverage of college basketball coming up. And Mark, appreciate you taking a few minutes to be with us today here in Florida, and good luck with the book, and hopefully we can talk to you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.